Our scripture for this evening comes from Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse number 10. Again, Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse number 10. Have you ever had a moment where you felt negative, a moment where you felt blah, a moment of pessimism, hopelessness? I suppose it's all right to have those moments because a moment implies something temporary. Of course, we want to have as few of those as possible, but we have to be careful that we don't allow moments to become a way of life. Because if those types of negative moments become a way of life, you look up one day and you wonder, where did time go? How did life pass me by? And if you're not careful, you become envious and jealous of others. There's a potential to be miserable, a potential to be complacent, and the potential to just settle and say, life, it is what it is. This was a potential problem in Nehemiah's administration. In Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse number 10, hear these words. And Judah said, the strength of the bearers of burdens is decayed, and there is much rubbish, so we are not able to build the wall. They were having a moment, one of those moments of pessimism, those blah, blah, blah moments. It is not uncommon for any of us to experience that type of reality as we look at God's people in Nehemiah chapter 4. There were people around them trying to stop the work. They were just overwhelmed. They were physically exhausted and emotionally spent. When it says the strength of the bearers of burdens is decayed, it simply means the workers have just worn themselves out. They have no more strength. They are exhausted. And they were having this moment where they said, we are not able to build the wall. I want to offer some points to you based on this one verse that will help us so that we can find the wherewithal to get beyond those moments, so that those moments do not become lifestyles. Again, this week, our theme is overcoming. And so tonight, we're going to talk about overcoming those moments. You know what those moments are. Let me give you some pointers. I promise you, if you apply these, it will make a world of difference in your life. Number one, choose the voices you will listen to. Let me say that again. Choose the voices you will listen to. In Nehemiah chapter 4, in verse number 7, there were the enemies who were trying to discourage and dissuade the work of God. I have come to learn in life that you cannot stop enemies from being enemies. You can't stop those negative people from being negative Nancy's and Larry the contrary. But you can choose whether or not you receive that in your spirit. There are three people that they had a choice to listen to in Nehemiah 4. The enemies in verse 7. Other people who were complaining in verse 10. Or they could have listened to Nehemiah, who was God's spokesperson. So if you're going to be an overcomer in those moments, while you cannot stop complaining people from complaining and enemies from trying to sabotage, you have to choose the voice that you listen to. And the choice you make will reveal itself in the outcomes of your life. Number 2, cast a motivational vision for yourself. Here's something I want you to do, and you don't have to share this with me, but something I want you to do. Think about what it is you want to do, what you want to be, and what you want to accomplish in your life. For those in Nehemiah's time, the restoration of the walls and the gates of the city, that was their vision. They had been in ruin, and they were trying to get back to their former glory. What are you excited about in your life? What is your vision? We get so comfortable, in fact, complacent with the idea of paying the bills, going to the doctor, picking up the kids, getting the oil change, running by the grocery store. But that doesn't mean we're really living life. We're just going through the motions. Maybe get you a vision board or maybe some paper and just outline. You need something to get excited about, something to be energized by, and something that will help you to excel to a level of excellence. What are you looking forward to in your life? Or is every day a day like it's just time to make the donuts? You need to have a vision that gets you out of bed every day. Number 3, create short-term and long-term goals. Notice something here in verse 10 of Nehemiah chapter 4. The workers became physically, mentally, and emotionally spent. The strength of the bearers of burdens is decayed. One of the reasons why this happened is they said, we are not able to build the wall. Therein lies the problem. You see, their goal was too big. Not that it was a bad goal, but it was an insufficient goal. You see, you need to recognize that when you have a major goal, the effort to achieve that goal can have you coming out of the gate at full speed, but then you lose your stamina, you lose your ability to keep pace, you run out of steam. So set some smaller, short-term goals. That way you get excited by accomplishing things, and each of those short-term goals will help to fuel you on toward your bigger goal. So as they were building the gates and the walls of the city, maybe a goal could have been getting all the supplies together. Maybe the goal could be mapping out a strategy. Maybe a goal could have been dividing up the work into teams. Just little things, so that as you accomplish little things, you are encouraged to do bigger things. Otherwise, the goal becomes too big and overwhelming, and you find yourself saying like them, we are not able to build the wall. Number 4, catch yourself and correct yourself when you are being negative. They said, we are not able to build the wall. How many times are we self-sabotaging? We have self-fulfilling prophecies. We say what we can't do and we don't do it. We self-sabotage because we don't listen to ourselves. Maybe when you're talking about your life and talking to others, you should record yourself and listen to what you say. You'd be surprised at how often we reinforce pessimism and reinforce negativity, not because of what someone else is saying, but because of what we are saying to ourselves. Be careful about your self-talk, because your self-talk becomes your reality. And number 5, challenge yourselves and others. They said, we are not able to build the wall. Why not challenge yourself? Why not challenge those around you? You see, challenging yourself and others has a way of awakening us. When someone says, let's see how many of these bricks we can move, or how many of these bricks we can stack. Let's see how much mortar we can get together. Let's get in team A, team B, team C. Let's see who can accomplish this. Challenging ourselves as a way of energizing us. So what are you trying to do in your life? Challenge yourself. Allow yourself to be energized, and maybe help energize others by not saying what you cannot do, but in believing what you can do. You can be an overcomer, but you have to choose the voices you'll listen to. You have to cast a motivational vision, create short-term and long-term goals, catch yourself and correct yourself when you are being negative, and challenge yourself and others. And you can build whatever it is God is calling you to build. This has been another installment of A Few Minutes with the Minister.